More than 40% of IT spending is on storage. Evan Powell, CEO of Nexenta, says that's a good reason to avoid getting locked into one vendor. Evan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Why is vendor lock-in such a bad thing?
Well, you've alluded to it. Storage is something like 40+% of IT spending today. It's growing. My standard joke is at current rates of growth, it'll be over 100% here in 5 or 6 years. Storage data growth is going like this, 50, 60, 70% a year. So IT managers are faced with, what the heck am I going to do about storage? And our answer is, let's make the storage industry look more like your, I don't know, compute part of the IT industry, or for that matter, parts of the security IT stack. And that is, let's separate the software, where a lot of the intelligence is, from the commodity hardware. Let's then pass the benefits of Moore's Law and the commoditization of hardware on to customers. So now you know pretty much, more or less, if you're a Nexenta customer, how much is it going to cost to add your next 20 terabytes? Well, disk drives in 3 years are going to be $200. They always are, except they're going to be 3 times as big. And you actually benefit from the reduction in hardware as opposed to purely having your hardware vendor, your storage vendor that is, benefit from it at your expense.
Yeah, so how is a more open environment a better idea, a better approach to this?
Well, again, because we only sell the software, you may buy from a partner like a Bell Canada or one of our other partners a total solution. But when you go to make that storage system faster or twice as big or 10 times as big in a couple years, you're now buying hardware, again, it could be from a Bell Canada or an Orange, that is at a commodity price. And so what that means is every 18 months the hardware gets roughly twice as fast, twice as good at the same price. You benefit as opposed to simply us. We're only a software company, and we pass through those benefits to the customer.
Yeah, now, Nexenta Store is not an entirely open environment, but it's built on an open source kernel. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. We took the roughly $120 million of R&D that Sun put into ZFS, and we grabbed that and started turning ZFS, which is open source, or ZFS, into a solution you'd actually want to run your storage on. And so we added a lot of capabilities on top of ZFS. The stuff that is on top today in our product is not open source, but ZFS itself is, and all the contributions we make to ZFS and the kernel is. So what that means is if you decide you don't like Nexenta Store, you can use our own open source. You could use an Oracle product. I mean, ZFS is hugely widely deployed now. Facebook uses it. It's broadly deployed. And you can use something else to manage that storage on disk. Compare that to going from legacy vendor A to legacy vendor B. It'll take you months. You have to learn, or legacy vendor A, the 3000 series to the 6000 series.
Not naming any names, of course.
Not naming any names, but you know, they have not fixed the speed of light, right? I mean, the speed of light is not going to get any faster. If you want to upgrade 100 terabytes from a 3000 to a 6000, you got to actually move the data off, get it back on. That is a completely disruptive approach. In our case, you just upgrade in place.
Now, ZFS claims some advantages, particularly in a virtualized environment. What are some of those advantages? Why are they an advantage?
I'd pick 2. There's several, but one that comes out quite a bit with us is the use of SSDs for write and for read cache. And so what this flash does is enable you to handle the random I/O of a virtualized environment. And if you think about the legacy vendors, what they've gotten good at is dealing with disk drives. And today we're in a world where flash is critically important. And the use of flash as cache removes the real tax, if you will, from the I/O patterns of virtualized environments. The second is, what are VMs? VMs are files. And so a best practice we see coming out of VMware and others, even over on the OpenStack side of the world, is use of NFS or a file protocol like that to actually manage the structure of your VMs, to give them a file system to reside in. So we bring to the table unified storage that leverages flash to go fast. And in fact, we have partners at VMworld last, a month ago, who announced 1 million IOPS all SSD boxes with unified storage out the front. Again, that file system side and block, so you can use both. So if you're a storage administrator or a virtualization administrator, you want to go fast. You're not sure if you want fiber channel, iSCSI, NFS, CIFS, InfiniBand, AOE. Our answer is, well, make a decision today, but it's just a checkbox away. We do all of those protocols out the front, which gives you a lot more flexibility.
Okay. So what's in the future of storage in the near term?
Well, storage is, as I alluded to at the beginning, it's another case where software is eating everything. I think Mark Andreessen was in the Wall Street Journal a while ago saying software is eating the world. Not sure about that, but it at least is eating IT. And storage is really that last bastion of proprietary vertical vendor lock-in. And that's changing. We're part of that. VMware is part of that. And VMware has articulated a vision of software-defined storage that we plug right into. We have for years. This year we came out with a new version of our product called VSA for View. It's really directly applicable for the desktop administrator. And in that world, what happens is you no longer need to be a storage expert. You say, I want 1,000 desktops, they need to go this fast. You click a couple buttons. We do everything under the hood. Now the data center is a service provider for the customer, as opposed to the customer having to have several or dozens of real deep experts to figure out it's security, it's networking, it's storage, it's this, it's that to get the solution. The data center should provide you services, and I think that's what software-defined data centers will do. You're just starting to see it with products like VSA for View and other software-defined storage, compute, networking products.
Evan, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.